Hello guys, and welcome back to the Not Our Lesson on the ChatGPT for Beginners course. Let's talk about the ChatGPT app. I wanted to make a separate video on the ChatGPT app because I personally think that in many ways, or for many use cases, this is actually the better way to use ChatGPT because it is even more useful in daily life, super user-friendly, and especially two functions, well, probably three functions that I really love are in there. So what can you do here? The interface is just very similar to that's step one. Obviously, if you pick up here, right? So if you're up here, you have an overview. Up there again are custom GPTs. You can explore GPTs, go get to the GPT store, go to your GPTs, and so on. You can also search for GPT, public GPT if you click here. And you can go through the different categories, but this is all the GPT store. Here you have your chat history. Here you can get to your settings and change whatever you feel you need to change. You can change, right? Again, here you see you can switch between a personal account and a business account if you have both. You can edit the subscription if necessary, and the various settings. You can change the color scheme, but I prefer the bright one. And even that, you can change the voice that you get, which will be when you talk to ChatGPT. But we'll look at that in a second. Okay, so let's just keep the current one. Let's go back. Let's get to the really interesting part. Okay, so here, this is the camera function. So if you click here, you can just make an image, which could be really, really useful if you want to analyze something that's in your environment. Let's go back to the plus. Yeah, so here you can upload an image from your local drive, or you can also upload a file from your phone. They're all very useful, especially if you want to analyze an image, or if you want to upload data and have that data sorted or formatted or analyzed with Code Interpreter. Now, it flies under the radar, and I don't hear anyone talking about this, but I'm personally am really, really big fan of this one here, which is the voice input. So if I click here, you can see that I will just talk into my phone, and whatever I see now, if I click stop, it will be transcribed. Now, I will not run this to the extreme, but you can actually do this at least up to 3 minutes, and the transcription will almost always work. And if you get an error, just click on retry. Maybe it works even longer, but I haven't tried, right? I'm just a really big fan that this transcription works so picture perfectly that also have a bit of an accent. It still works really like almost 100%. Also, I don't need to tap anything on my phone. I just talk into the phone, and this is my prompt. So now I will click here again to stop. And now within seconds, because it already starts transcribing when I'm talking, I have my whole input here transcribed, right? So even if you just need a transcription app, ChatGPT is there for you. And depending on the input, right, even if I just use it for transcription, sometimes I will hit this button, enter, and I'm just curious kind of feedback it gives me, or maybe gives me some input on my thoughts that can also help. Right, so let's do that now and just wait. I mean, this is not the most interesting input, but yeah, sometimes so funny what it gives me. Then maybe even more funny here is this is the direct voice conversation with ChatGPT. And it really looks like you can just have a phone call with ChatGPT, but you will also still get it written so you can read it later, the conversation you had. All right? So I'll just click here now and do something on the topic. Hi, ChatGPT. I wanted to ask you if you personally think that more people prefer to use ChatGPT via the smartphone app because they can just talk, or actually the desktop one where they have to write. What do you think?
That's an interesting question. The preference between using ChatGPT on a smartphone app versus a desktop largely depends on the individual's habits and needs. People who are always on the go or prefer speaking over typing might lean towards the smartphone app. It's convenient, especially with voice to text capabilities. On the other hand, those who work primarily on desktops or prefer the feel of a keyboard might favor the desktop version. It can be easier for longer, more detailed queries or for multitasking with other work. It really comes down to personal preference and context. What do you prefer, or do you find yourself using both for different purposes?
Oh, it's so unfortunately when I did this, my screen recording on my phone, because I'm recording my phone on my desktop, actually had an issue. But basically, if you just click here again, you will hang up the call, so to speak, and you will be back in the chat, right? And you will hear, you're going to see the conversation that we had in talking will now be here in writing. So you can also go back to the response that you get and work with it if you need to. All right. So this is the app. Again, you have all the functions you also have on the desktop app, just with the voice input and transcription. I'm just a really big fan of not having to type and being able to use it anywhere. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, I'm a big fan, and I would definitely recommend you to install the app and to get the most out of ChatGPT and use it in your daily life.